Hello, students in the band, in the marching band, and band directors. This video is for you. We're going to talk about in this video how to be taken seriously and respected as an underclassmen student leader in the marching band. I don't know if I said that exactly the way the title is up there, but that's what we're going to focus on today. So if that's you, if you're concerned about if you're a returning leader, or if you're going to be a brand new leader or an aspiring leader, you want to be a leader in the marching band space or in your marching band, but you're an underclassman, maybe you're going into your sophomore year, you're really going to get excited about what I have to share with you today, because that's where I started out. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with me, my name is Dwayne Huff, and I created something called Band Leadership Seminars and Band Leadership Online, which is an online course. And for the last 7 years, I've traveled the country working with high school bands and college bands all across the nation, helping student leaders and aspiring student leaders just like you be more effective as student leaders. And not only have I gotten this question from student leaders, both returning, new, aspiring, but also band directors consistently. In fact, a band director asked this question, and so I addressed it with them in my Band Leadership Inner Circle, which is a private Facebook group just for band directors. If you're a band director watching this, head on over to Band Leadership Inner Circle on Facebook, request entry into that group, and answer the 3 questions there. I'll let you in. And if you're a student and you're thinking about taking on a leadership position in your band, realize that leadership is not seasonal. It starts right now. And if you want to be an effective, respected leader, taken seriously, especially if you're an underclassman, listen up, because it starts right now, and it's your runway to ramp up to get to that place before interviews and auditions happen to be a section leader, band captain, band council, drum major, whatever the case is. A little bit about me and my background, so you'll know who is this old guy and why should I listen to him. I'm a 9-time student leader in the marching band, a 6-time drum major. And I can't tell you that everything I did was 100% right. There's a lot of times I made mistakes and failed, and that's where I learned. But I went on a journey after I graduated college to figure out how to make this better for you, the student leader. So please do something for me as we go through this. If you're getting value from it, please tag somebody else in your band, or somebody you know who's going to be a student leader, who wants to be, and even your band director, so that they can benefit from what we're going to talk about. Secondly, if you have a question, if you have an idea, a comment, an experience, feel free to drop it in the comments. I respond to them all, even if I can't do it in real time as this is going live. I'm going to try to keep my glasses off because I don't like wearing them. But that was my background and my story. And so I have to say that as an underclassmen student leader, at first I got a great foundation. So I started off on the right foot, and it set me up for success in my high school band. So I'm going to share my experience there, but then I'm going to share with you how it went south very quickly and what to avoid so it doesn't happen to you. Okay, so let's jump right in here. Hopefully I've established my credentials. If not, and you need to know a little bit more about me, run over to bandleadershipseminars.com. There's a whole story there. I won't bore you with that here. But so how do you get to be taken seriously as an underclassmen serious leader, and have the respect of your upperclassmen peers? It's not an easy thing. So here's the first thing. Number one, get yourself a solid foundation in 2 things. Number one, what is leadership, and why is leadership important in the context of the marching band, and what kind of leadership? And I'm going to talk about that a little bit here. But that's the first thing. And that was a beautiful thing for me. What happened, my backstory is this. I went into the marching band in high school after playing for 3 years in junior high school. Didn't know what to expect. Had a pretty rough go at the beginning of band camp, but made it through marching band season and carried on throughout the concert season after that. And my peers, the student leaders, the section leaders, the drum majors in my band, and my band director started paying attention to me and kind of noticing some of the qualities that I possessed that were natural towards leadership. And so they approached me at the end of the year and said, "Hey, Dwayne, would you go away this summer to a drum major camp, a student leadership camp, so that you can come back, serve the band as a student leader, and be the student conductor?" And basically what that position was somebody who was being groomed to potentially become the drum major. I had no idea what that entailed, but I said, sure, I'll do it. And I walked into a situation where one of the legends, many of you watching this may know him, his name is Dr. Tim Lotzenheiser. And even back in the day, whenever I was in high school, as you can see, it's been a while, he was a legend. And I got to spend 2 summers in his presence learning from him. So I got a solid foundation in what leadership is, specifically what I teach and what he teaches, servant leadership, and why it was so important to the band. So I got a great foundation. And for me, the stakes were high. And I knew that if I messed it up, the upperclassmen in the band would not respect what I was trying to accomplish or what I was there to do to serve the band. And so I had to be very diligent and very focused and very intentional in what I did. So I took all the things that Dr. Tim taught me, like humble yourself, serve others. If you want to be great in the band, you got to be the servant of all that are there. Listen, pay attention, have a great attitude, be consistent. Don't talk behind people's back. Don't form cliques. Don't gossip. And all the things that I should do and should not do. And he says, if you will stay the course and you will discipline yourself to be the best musician you can be, to practice, to not necessarily be the best musician in the band, but be the best musician you can, is what he told us. And to step outside of your comfort zone, instead of hanging out in your cliques, reach out and bring other people into the fold and be that catalyst for people in the band, so that you create a stronger team, an environment, and a family. And if you'll do that consistently and listen to what the band director says, honor and respect those upperclassmen that go before you over time. He said it won't happen overnight. It won't happen immediately, because they're gonna question you. They're gonna push back against you. They're gonna suspect you, and they're gonna be watching you. And you step out of line, they're gonna hand it to you. And I was scared to death going back into that year. But the things that I did right is I did just that. I respected the upperclassmen in whatever position they were in, and I had a healthy respect for them. I listened to what they said. I did the best that I could in rehearsal. I set the example for the rest of my peers. One of the ways that I did that is that whenever we would march our drill, or if it'd be standing at attention and parade block or whatever the case was, I made sure that I did the best I could to set a consistent example. And whether it was hot, whether it was rainy, whether there were ants crawling on me or mosquitoes flying around my head, I would stay at attention better than anybody else. Here's why. I was motivated. I knew that there were several other people in that band that were gunning for the drum major position that I wanted. So the stakes were high, and I had an intrinsic internal motivation for why I wanted to do it. And what forgive me if you hear noise in the background, it's my kids. They don't always respect what I'm trying to do when I go live. Anyway, and so the stakes were high, and I always kept my eye focused on the goal. So the first thing I'll say to you is this: get a solid foundation in what leadership is and why it is and why it's important. And then ask yourself, what is it that you specifically want to accomplish as a leader in the band? Realizing that, number one, you don't have authority, but you can have influence. One of my favorite mentors, Dr. John Maxwell, says it this way, that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And when you dig under the surface of that, what you realize is that influence is adding value to the lives and the experience of your peers. And the way that you do that is by consistently building relationship and understanding what it is they're trying to accomplish and experience in the band program, and making it your duty to help them get that, or to get more of that every single day when they show up to band. So the bottom line in translation is, whether it's popular or not, leadership is never about us, the leader. It's always about them. And if we take that attitude into the band, knowing that we're servants and that we're there to give, we're there to show up early, stay late, perpetuate a positive attitude, set an example, be quiet in rehearsal when we're supposed to, and be a model example of what the ideal student should be, then all of a sudden the upperclassmen are going to start to see that and respect us over time. I like to tell students in my live seminars, when I go out and work with band programs or in my live course, I say, here's the standard. Set such an example for your peers that you don't have to say a word. But when they're in your presence, if they're not following your example, it makes them feel uncomfortable. It makes them feel awkward, because they can see what a great example you are. Not what you're saying, but what you're doing. In psychology, it does this. What it does is that they see where they are. They see where you are. You don't have to say a word. It's how you practice. It's how you behave. It's the attitude you show. It's a smile on your face. It's the energy in your heart that exudes. Here's where they are. Here's the example you're setting. There's a gap here. I've heard some psychologists call that inspirational discontent. And as a leader, we never want to be people that pressure or dictate to our peers, but we want to strategically activate a tension that causes them to change, to move, to follow. And the way that we do that is creating that inspirational discontent. If you set such a great example that people feel awkward or uncomfortable when they don't follow your example, then you've created tension inside that causes them to resolve and eventually follow you in the way that you behave, the attitude that you bring, your consistency. And over time, the upperclassmen start to acknowledge that, start to respect that, and start to bring you into their fold, and they will have your back moving forward. But it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. Now, that's how it worked out for me. But I forgot those lessons when I moved out of high school and moved into two new situations. Number one, I drum majored at Drum and Bugle Corps when I graduated from high school. And I was hired because I went and auditioned, and I proved to be a good conductor and a great showman of the podium. And I knew that. That was my gift. That was my talent. I had some extraordinary mentors that taught me that. But the thing that I didn't bring to the table with me that got me in trouble, and it will for you, is an underclassman. And in that particular situation, I was an underclassman because the people in the Corps had been there for 1, 2, 3 years, and they'd paid their dues. But here comes this new guy into their space, taking on the head role. I came in with some arrogance, with some overconfidence, confidence, chest thumping, saying, look at me. Even if I didn't say it that way, my actions and my words and my attitude projected that. Well, it backfired on me quickly because the upperclassmen immediately let me know that they did not approve of who I was. And for the rest of the summer on tour, my life was miserable. In fact, I only had one friend in that entire Corps. And it was the person who I rode the bus with who sat next to me. And I thank God for that dude. You know, we were great friends, and he had my back, and it was awesome. But I felt like I was on an island because I didn't humble myself, because I didn't give of myself to serve. I didn't set the right attitude. I wasn't consistent, but it was in that moment that I learned how important consistency is. See, people, whether we like it or not, every minute of every day are following us. They're watching us. They're looking to us for example. And we don't even have to have a title to be influential as leaders. In fact, if you ever want to test your influence and your effectiveness as an influencer, go and volunteer somewhere where you have no title. Or if you don't have a title right now, get involved and start serving and being a part of your group, and serve as a leader by giving, by listening, by building relationship, and by bringing a positive attitude. I always say that there's two different types of people. There's a type of people who, when they walk in the room, the whole place lights up. Do you know those type of people, right? But there's another type of people or person. There's a type of people that when they leave the room, the whole place lights up. Don't be that person. And that's what I was. You know, I brought a sour attitude to that whole thing. It was all about me. I was arrogant. Look at me. I'm awesome. I'm in the head role. Well, that didn't pay off. Now, you think I would have learned my lesson? Unfortunately, I did not, because as soon as I left that gig, I got another honor because I was going into my freshman year of college, and I was on a full ride scholarship as only the third freshman drum major in the history of this college. And I don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you that freshmen, for all intents and purposes, should not be a drum major in a college marching band. But the reason I was hired, again, was for my showmanship and for my conducting abilities. And if I'd learned my lesson in the drum corps, I would have come into that situation with my hat in my hand, my attitude humble, my heart wide open, my attitude great. And the only time I would have exuded strength, power, and confidence at a high level would have been when I was on the podium. And I didn't. I was arrogant on the field. I was arrogant on the podium. I was arrogant as a person. And really quick, maybe it was only 4 or 5 people in the entire band, but it made it feel these people didn't like me, and they let me know in no uncertain terms, but it made it feel like the whole band was against me. So don't bring that to your leadership role, or you'll lose friends and make enemies very quick. So I'll wrap it up and simply say this. If you don't have a position of leadership right now, or you didn't in the last marching band season, but you're thinking about interviewing or auditioning to be selected as a student leader, start right now to do those things. Number one, realize that leadership is not about you. It's about them 100%. Instead of taking an assertive dictatorial leadership style, take a servant's mindset and a servant's heart. Go out every day and see how you can improve the lives of your peers and your band director. Look around, take initiative, see what needs to be done. Don't wait to be told, go do it. Walk into the band room every single day from this point forward with a sincere, genuine expression of smile and joy on your face, because people are attracted to it. That's the kind of people that make the whole room light up. Be a ball of energy and life. Now, don't be disingenuous, don't be inauthentic, but just be the best that you are. And make it a point to connect with as many people as you can in the band, starting right now, even if you're a freshman or a sophomore, and build personal relationships. It's very hard to be mad, to disrespect, to not follow someone that you know, that you like, and that you trust. And if you will start right now building those relationships of trust, having people know who you are and actually genuinely like you. And here's the thing, your upperclassmen do not have to like you to respect you. And they will follow you if they know you're sincere, if you're honest, if you have integrity, and you have character. And that simply means that no matter when somebody's looking or not, you're doing the right thing. Because even when people aren't looking, they know, they can sense it, right? And so if you will carry those qualities starting right now, if you haven't in the past, and you will make a point to show up like that every day consistently, I guarantee you, by the time you step into the role as a leader, or very soon after, if you embody those things, it will be hard not to respect you and take you seriously as a student leader. And I can't wait to hear about your success. So if this benefited you, please tag your band director or somebody else in your marching band. If you're a band booster or a band parent who like this page for some reason, by the way, if you like this live video, make sure you like the page so you'll know when I go live next time. And if you want to get a jump start on being a student leader and really dive into it to understand what it is, why it's important, and honestly, to know if it's a good fit for you, I've created a resource. There's a link to it right here on my website, bandleadershipseminars.com/BLOL, which stands for Band Leadership Online. There's a resource that I created for students like you who are aspiring to be leaders or who return to be leaders. There's 2 videos in it. It's number 1 video is what is leadership? And number 2 is why is leadership important? I think each video is at least 30 minutes. And then there's an assessment that you take after you watch those videos, and it will tell you in no uncertain terms if leadership is a good move for you. Because here's what I'll say. If somebody would have sat me down, like when my band director, I told you, asked me to go away and be a student leader, I never asked, well, what's involved? What does that mean? Because if I would have, and I'm being transparent and honest with you, if I'd have asked him and he would have told me, Dwayne, it's showing up early, it's staying late, it's self-sacrifice, it's giving without any expectation of anything in return, it's giving of your heart, your soul, your mind, your dedication, your sweat, your tears, only to have people not care, not appreciate it, pick on you, judge you, talk about you, but you're there to serve them so that they can be better. I honestly would have looked at my band director and said, thank you, but no thank you. And I'm not here to scare you away from leadership, because once you get into it and realize what it is, the honor, the reward comes from seeing the satisfaction of watching your entire band program rise to another level. And you were responsible for helping leave that legacy where the memories will last for a lifetime. Once you push through the difficulties, it stays with you for the rest of your life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It's made my life better in every respect. But here's my warning to you. Once you go leadership, you can't go back, because you can't unlearn. You can't unfeel. You can't unsee. You can't unserve. It gets in you. It stays in you, and it brings you to a higher standard and a higher level in your life. And if you would have asked me way back when, I would have said I wouldn't wish leadership on my worst enemy. I wish it for everyone who's brave enough to accept the call and the challenge to leadership, and I invite you to do the same. So if you need a resource to get a jump start and get an edge on your competition when you go into interviews, there's that resource on my website. There's a link right here. What is it called exactly? I have a hard time remembering it verbatim. I'm looking at my notes here. I labeled it the Leadership Selection and Preparation Quick Starter Kit. It's been available to band directors, excuse me, for the last few years, and they've really used it to vet their student leaders. But I said, hey, why not offer it to the students themselves who are aspiring to leadership, so you can make sure that leadership is going to be good for you, and that you don't jump in if it's not right. And you get a head start of really knowing where your mind and your heart need to be effective, so that you can be taken seriously and earn respect of your upperclassmen even before you start. So if that's you, run over, scroll down a little bit when you get to the page on my website, and you'll see it says new resource. It's like $27. And here's the thing: if you purchase it, you go through it, you decide, hey, leadership's not for me, or you go through it and you're like, this wasn't worth the money, just tell me. I'll give you money back. You can keep the videos. It's not about getting your money. It's about preparing you to be a student leader. So if you have any questions, even if you're watching this on the replay, what questions do you have about being effective as a student leader other than the one that we just addressed? I'd love to hear it, whether you're a student, whether you're a band director, whether you're a parent who's trying to lead your students or help them along this journey. Whoever you are, just drop it in the comments. I answer them all myself, and I'd love to hear from you. I get a notification the minute you do that. But stay tuned. Like the page. Tag somebody in here that can benefit, your band director or another student or a student leader that is looking forward to taking on a leadership position. And remember this is my tagline for band leadership seminars: you can inspire superior performance. You've just got to be willing to take on a servant's heart, set the example, and show up consistently with the right attitude. And over time, you will be taken seriously, and you will earn the respect of your peers, your upperclassmen, even if you are an underclassman. I guarantee it. I've been through it, and I know you can do it too. I look forward to hearing about your success. Stay tuned. Let me know, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.